little bit, we're going to talk a little bit more about Cassie and what she had going on. She got done with her testimony a couple days ago, and I wanted to go back and review some of the things that were said. We're going to check out this video from Law and Crime and a couple of people they had at the scene listening to court, and we're going to hear what Cassie had to say about these freak-offs. It gets wild, y'all, so get ready.
We are doing our best to be respectful of what is happening in that courtroom, but also at the same time relaying the proper information to you. Elizabeth, I know my time with you is limited. I know you have to go back in there, so I want to ask you real quick, what were the highlights of the cross-examination, and also what is the tone by which the cross-examination is being done? Is it combative back and forth? That's the thing we can't get from the transcript right now.
Yeah, as far as the cross-examination goes, for the most part, it seems very casual. We were thinking that it might be aggressive, it might be combative, but for the most part, Cassie has been very forthcoming in answering these questions. You know, she's showing, Ana Maria Estevao is showing her text messages and email chains and BlackBerry messages from 2007, from 2009, where Cassie is confessing her love to Diddy, or she is asking for a freak off, or she's
loves him.
You know, asking, you know, about just more intimate details from her relationship with him. Because to your point, Jesse, a lot of this stuff, some of these messages that we did see in court today were very graphic in nature. And so, you know, the questioning was starting out about the relationship between the two. You know, when it first started out in around that 2007 time period, around that 2009 period, that's when the questioning at the beginning of it kind of all started. And you would think that that would be, you know, an aggressive moment or a combative moment, especially as you're seeing messages that say, I'm a very lucky woman, I miss you, and I'd fly wherever you need me, I love you. And then you see Diddy respond, I love you so much, it makes me cry. And then Cassie writing back, you hungry pop. But I'm thinking, you know, just from my perspective.
Oh no. Hey, how are y'all? Let me know in the comments about this. Are y'all still feeling the same about Cassie after hearing this testimony from her? After hearing how much she really didn't want to leave, and then she showed that through her actions. What do y'all think? This is weird, man.
Perspective that around those time frames, she was still relatively young. For the most part, she was in her early 20s. She was also asked about a previous relationship she had with another music producer named Ryan Leslie. And around this time frame, the defense was kind of saying, you know, when you started dating him, you were 18, 19 years old, and he was 10 years older than you. And asking, you know, you know, with respect to Sean Combs and respect to Diddy, asking whether or not, you know, that her entire world opened up because she was dating this man at this time period. Because remember, around that time, Diddy essentially reigned king amongst everyone. And so a lot of the questioning was a lot of messages that were shown today. A lot saying, you know, I love you so much. It made me feel like I can't wait until we just don't care anymore. And by saying we don't care anymore, that's about, you know, her just wanting to be open and public about this relationship. You see Cassie say, Pop, I really miss you. And Diddy responding in these messages.
Yo, this Pop thing is so weird to me. It's so weird. I know a lot of y'all said in the comments that you've called your grandparents or your grandfather Pop. This is a super strange relationship from the start. It seemed like Cassie had some other things going on, especially she was with Ryan Leslie first, allegedly when she was 18, 19. It's possible it could have been before that. I don't want to put that on Ryan Leslie. I'm just saying it is what it is. Weird, man. Weird.
Just me too, baby. Damn, I can't wait until I see you. You see a 2010 message where Cassie says, so you hung up. It's like I need to have something written out to say to you with no breathing room or you'll get mad at me. I haven't talked to you at all. I know you have 3 minutes because, you know, around this time he is running a bunch of businesses. He's going to board meetings. He's traveling across the country. But it seems like, you know, Cassie, from her point of view, just by reading these messages, that you could kind of tell that she was just somebody, you know, at least from my perspective, somebody that was young and in love and just wanted her boyfriend around that time. I will say, as far as just kind of the tone in the courtroom today, this was a day many of us were waiting for, because it is the cross-examination. We were wondering what the defense is going to try to poke at with, you know, kind of maybe discrediting some of the claims, especially the claims about whether or not this was consensual or non-consensual, whether or not Cassie initiated wanting to do these FOs, or whether it was, you know, Sean Combs who initiated and wanted to do it and made her, you know, gather these escorts, and we haven't gotten too far into the testimony. I will say one thing today, Jesse, and some of the arguments that we had heard, even as I was leaving the courtroom just to come out and do this hit with you today, is that Cassie may be on the stand well until tomorrow as well, too, still in cross-examination, something that the judge was a little like, whoa, what are you guys talking about? You guys told me that you would be wrapped up today or possibly tomorrow, and the defense said today that they still have so much more to go over, to the point that this could drag into Friday and possibly even spill over into Monday if they have to do redirect or even have to do recross. And so that was something that they were ironing out as soon as the lunch break hit, right when I was leaving to come out here to speak with you. And so it seems like they still have a long ways to go into this cross-examination. There were times that I was thinking maybe that this would get combative, maybe Cassie would get mad or angry or anything like that. I saw none of that. She was, again, very forthcoming, answering her questions in the courtroom, still very soft-spoken, even when those graphic messages were shown inside the courtroom, even as she had to read some of these, and these are very sexual in nature. Some of them I'm not going to repeat here on air, but for the most part, when she was answering the question, she still kept the exact same tone that she had had even during her direct examination. As for Ana Maria Estevao, excuse me, I mispronounced her name earlier when we were talking about her, but even when she was asking her questions, it was a little kind of messy at times. I was kind of like, is she just going to ask a direct question? And Cassie was like, can you repeat that? Can you rephrase it? And then there were a lot of objections during the line of questioning. One thing I did note is that I'm a little surprised that Ana Maria Estevao is actually doing the line of questioning, because from what I can see of her, she's conferring a lot with Tenny Garagos during this line of questioning, whereas with AUSA Emily Johnson, when she was doing her direct examination, as far as, you know, Maureen Comey, as far as she was participating in that, she was just, you know, handing her sticky notes from time to time.
That doesn't matter. I mean, each team is different. So how someone handles their cross-examination, if they need more assistance, I don't think that looks bad on them.
She would sit down. It wasn't too distracting, kind of like it is a little bit between the defense table, just kind of going back and forth. You see Diddy at the defense table. He is, you know, again, participating in his defense. He's very much eyeballing these exhibits. Amazing. He's writing notes down. He's conferring, you know, with Mark Agnifilo and who's sitting right beside him, who normally sits kind of at the end of the table, but for today he's sitting right beside Diddy. And so that's pretty much the big sticking points that I'm definitely seeing with this cross-examination so far. And again, we still have so much more to go, according to the defense. They're not even scratching the surface yet, according to them.
Not surprisingly, I think it was said today, this is the star witness of the prosecution's case. I think the defense, their case, is mostly wrapped up in how Cassandra Ventura appears in front of this jury. So I'm not surprised it's going to take some time. Elizabeth, I wish we had a little bit more time, but I know you have to jump back into that courtroom. So thank you so much. We're going to get you back later on in the day. Elizabeth Milner, great reporting as always. Thank you.
Shout out to Elizabeth.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, so I want to continue the conversation and take your questions right now about this. I'm back here with Saf. I'm back here with Serena. So one of the questions that we got, and I want to pull it up right now. Let me just pull it up where it was, where we got it. It was a good question. Now I'm having trouble finding it. Okay. This is a question from Jaden Jarrell. I'm going to throw this to you, Safa. Do you think the text messages make her not credible? And when we think about text messages, I'll give you an example. This was one from apparently she wrote to Combs in an email. In order for me to be more open with the things we do in bed, I need to feel safe, like home, like this is my husband, and this is the only man that will ever have this aggressive sexual side of me. When we used to freak off, when we were so in love, there were no questions asked. It felt right. Like it literally made sense for the next step in our sex life together. What do you think?
Oh my God. Hey, what do y'all think? Do y'all think she's ever said this to her husband? What? I mean, we got to talk about it, right? He's well, he might be. Hearing that Cassie was doing the most, and he knew it because they were in a relationship at the time Cassie was still with Diddy. I don't know. These people are weird, man. He probably doesn't even care. That's crazy.
The text messages certainly will weigh on her credibility. I think what we've heard or what we're hearing now through the cross-examination is the defense attorney essentially using these text messages to say to her, well, listen, you again were a willing participant, you continue this relationship with him. And the defense is highlighting that through those text messages and through the conversations Ms. Ventura has been having. But it also goes both ways, because also in those text messages, which there are some ones for the prosecution here, she discusses how he has been physically violent towards her. They discuss the freak offs and a number of other things that really go to show that there was some sort of physical violence within the relationship, threats of force and things like that, which the government essentially has to prove. So the jury is going to determine how credible Ms. Ventura is, and the judge will instruct them on how to determine that. And they will be able to decide whether or not those text messages are consistent with her credibility, and if they either bolster or affirm her credibility or discredit her.
Well, I think Cassie being the main witness in this case, one of the biggest witnesses in this case, and her wanting to be there, willfully being in that relationship for so long, I think it's going to be tough for the jury to see the trafficking in this case, because again, this isn't about assault, this isn't about battery, it's about the coercion, it's about being forced to do certain things. And from what I'm seeing in these text messages so far, it looks like Cassie's like, yeah, sure, I want to be with you, pop. What do y'all think?
I'll tell you what, we did a poll up on Law and Crime. This was the question. After hearing both the allegations and the defense cross-examination so far, who do you find more credible? 80% say Cassie, 20% say Diddy. Serena, you think that's going to be consistent with what the jury's thinking at this point?
No
or
way.
It's very difficult to know because, again, there's one thing how we're listening to the transcript, or at least we're reading from the transcript versus how the questioning is done inside that courtroom. What do you think?
So much plays a role here, Jesse. It goes in every different direction. First of all, the people who are taking the poll are almost self-selected, right? They're obviously interested and have been following the Diddy case for a long time. They might actually know, your Law and Crime viewers might know a lot more about this case than the jurors do, at least at this point. And so it's hard to say whether it's going to, spill over to how the jury feels. On the other hand, the jury is supposed to be objective. It's supposed to reflect the community, and hopefully the jury is listening very, very intently to all of the testimony, both the cross and also the direct from the prosecution. I do think that Cassie has come across very credible. I also do think that there is a little bit of an uphill battle with respect to these text messages, because they're going to try to say, look, you're saying these things now, but your state of mind at the time was that you were a willing participant.
Right.
We'll talk about the defense and something that Elizabeth just brought up, Safa. Why would it be Ana Esteveo is doing the cross-examination as opposed to Tenny Garagos? Do you have a theory about that?
Oh, absolutely. There's absolutely no way that the defense could have allowed a male to cross-examine Miss Ventura for optics purposes.
Well, Tenny Garagos is a woman.
Yeah, well, and so I guess to the point, and I think what I heard Elizabeth say was what she was conferring, or I think it was Miss Anna who was conferring with other attorneys, but essentially they need a woman to cross-examine Miss Ventura. And the importance of that is because optically speaking, when you have a man who is cross-examining a woman, especially a pregnant woman who is very delicate in nature because of her pregnancy condition, it just looks bad to have a male cross-examine her. So it's not surprising that the defense would have made the decision to have this particular attorney cross-examine her. And I think for optics speaking, that was the right thing for them to do. If they had a male cross-examining Miss Ventura, it would have just looked very aggressive, as if they're pummeling down or combative with a woman who is pregnant and fragile and maybe in the eyes of the jury is a victim. So they're very careful about that.
It's interesting when we talk about her cross-examination, because we have a question here, Serena, from Legs 7K. With today's cross-examination, could Cassie be on the stand tomorrow, or is there a new witness to testify? So it seems the judge said in court, hey, listen, guys, the plan was, you always knew her testimony had to end this week. Now, why that's the case, maybe it has to do with pregnancy.
And it did.
I'm not entirely sure, but what I will tell you is, there is a lot more they need to question her about, and there's a lot more that I imagine the prosecution wants to come back at with a redirect. Why is it so important to have this testimony finished up by the end of the week. Do you think that this is realistically going to end by tomorrow, or do you think this has to extend until Monday? I mean, doesn't the defense and the prosecution have a right to question this witness as much as they need to? This is the star witness in this case.
Yeah, and I want to know what y'all think about that too, because Cassie going on and saying, yeah, I said that, yeah, I did it, but at the end of the day, I felt forced. It's hard to see. Even when we listen to Kid Cudi's testimony, he's talking about Diddy was having conversations. He was moving a certain way. He was trying to get Kid Cudi and Cassie to work together so she could do some other things. No, it seemed like she was just happy being next to Diddy. I'm not gonna lie. What? Seems like she was, why do I need to go out here and work and make all this music and do all this stuff? I got Diddy, I'm good. And then things started to change. She wanted to monkey branch and go to another guy. Didn't work out with that guy. All right, well, guess I'll go back to Diddy. I'm trying to get out and go to this guy. I'm just not seeing it. Again, y'all have to let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat.